Oh, okay. Here we are again. Welcome to those with faces, both familiar and unfamiliar. Take your places, be seated and be comfortable, and please, be not afraid. Now, from the title, you may be confused. Quotev? What even is that, actually? Or if you were like me and dwelled in random sites on the internet in your youth, you'll recognize the name as a site for quizzes, stories, and polls, and various topics and genres and whatever. It was usually actually a place for fandoms, from what I saw. You would post like fan fictions or quizzes about random stuff. I personally found the site to be a nice little alternative to Wattpad as a youngster, because it just generally felt more social. And well, back in the day it was. It provided a nice place to put my cringy old stories I wrote with my friends and take random quizzes based on fandoms I like. An example would be, would you survive a date with Jeff the Killer? Plot twist, I would, because I cheated my way into getting the right answers. It would be like, oh, I'm feeling stabby. You would look so pretty with a knife smile. And it'd be like, oh, yes, I love you, Jeff the Killer. And yeah. And this is off topic, but if somehow you're watching this, to the person who went by the name Yumi on Quotev in like 2016, I'm so sorry you had to put up with my 12-year-old self. But this site was so much more than just quizzes and stories, and, it was a community, as I've been saying this whole time. Or, well, kind of still is. As I was researching for this video, I found out that it was still somewhat active up until recently. We'll get into that soon enough, though. Quotev is a site, website. It was never an app. You can technically use it, whatever, not important. As stated, it is for quizzes, stories, and polls. Quotev was founded all the way back in 2008. Here is a little excerpt. Quotev. The site was created in 2008, initially going by the name Quizzazz. Fancy. It at first was fully connected to Facebook, and it was separated as its own site in 2010. By 2012, it had changed in site name and design, becoming Quotev and beginning the habit of calling the website just Q for some users. Because, well, the Q is a different color in the logo. It's Q. Quotev. Q. That was directly, but also slightly butchered, because I speak in a butchered sense, from the fandom wiki of Quotev. Now, I did not actually look close enough if there was an actual Wikipedia page on Quotev. There's probably a lot of information I'm leaving out in this video, so just understand that this is not the full picture. This is just my, look at the site. This is just my retrospective of, I don't think that's the right word. This is just me looking back on it and being like, holy shit, it's dead. But apparently not fully dead. I was not around Quotev for long, simply from around 2016 to 2018, and what I saw in that time was a thriving community full of social features and such. Now, apparently, one fateful day in 2024, of course, just last year, the last day of May that year, was what the fandom wiki deemed the Quotev massacre. Now, that may sound a bit extreme, and it is, but it is the murder of social features. An excerpt directly from the wiki being recorded as, on May 31st, 2024, the worst update in the rich history of Quotev occurred. On this day, the admins removed all social features from the website. The RA page, or better yet, known as the feed, was removed without warning. When users went to message others, a message alerting them that the ability to message would be removed come July 1st showed up. the fate was dealt to groups. The same fate was dealt to groups. The features themselves were finally removed on July 1st of 2024. Quotev admins were silent on the update until later. Later in the day, I can't read, hold on. Later in the day, making a news post to inform users that the change had, been implemented. Following backlash on Twitter, and in messages, the admins would amend the statement to add that there would be a option to download everything that users' messages and groups in a few days. During this backlash, the Quotevian Society, or whatever they call themselves, would move on to other websites in the face of their massive loss against the administration off the now ghost town Quotev. And that's where that left off. I believe there hasn't been much posted to the fandom wiki since, because, the site has been deemed a ghost town. But, now, as I said, I looked at the site itself to research for this video, and it looked active at first glance. I was at first about to write, oh wow, this site is still active after all these years of just existing as a fandom space. And, well, much to my surprise, after clicking onto some things, it was a ghost town. A ghost town of just a year prior. A ghost town where Wings of Fire, fanfic, and which creepypasta are you quizzes, as well as many other fandoms which the site used to hold home to, lay across the front page in silent silence now for the rest of time. And now, don't get me wrong, you can still post to Quotev and go and read these. As I speak right now, Quotev still exists and is up and running, but trust me when I say that it's a shell of its former self. But that doesn't mean it's entirely dead, I suppose. If you look at the comments, there are still conversations up until like 6 days ago, which is what I looked at, but there may be some as soon as like a few minutes ago. It's just that people have moved from messages to comments, and it's not a pretty site to look at. And generally, I guess that means that it's not entirely dead. Yeah, it's just not the same site I got as a youngster. But doesn't that show the same of most things? Now, not to get too crazy with it here, but what we got in our youth versus what the youth gets, it's so different, isn't it? As someone who grew up with the internet, Skibidi Toilet Riz or whatever was out of my mind's reach, but Elsa Gate was barely within my grasp when I was like 11. I was forced to use YouTube Kids. Like, I was watching that stuff. But, 5-minute crafts versus Glitter Forever 17 and her EOS chapstick life hacks. Everything changes, but despite all the changes, it's still the same internet, Despite Quotev going through all of those changes and just not really being a social platform so much as being a place where, well, it's more similar to AO3 now, if anything, with like quizzes and stuff. Yeah, but to quote that silly goofy game about choices and how it affects others or whatever, despite everything, it's still you. And that was really superficially deep, right? Anywho, I'm gonna wrap this up. I don't really have much else to say on this topic. I, as said, only use Quotev for a brief time to post my cringy little stories and roleplay with friends about creepypasta and whatever. But it was nice to come back to this topic and just generally reconverse about what happened to this site. As said, it is still up and running. You can still go use it if you wanted to. I don't know why you would, because as said, it is still like a ghost town. It's not good. It's not good at all. But hey, it still exists. It is still a monument of internet history. It may not be a big one, and it may not be that special of one, but it is still a home to fandoms and just stuff of the like. There's a bunch of OC stuff, a bunch of original character stories, a bunch of original fiction and the likes. You can still go check it out. You are not limited to this. Just because it is a ghost town does not mean you cannot go look at it. So don't take this as me going, hey, look at this dead site. Never go there because it is dead and it sucks. It doesn't suck. It is, whatever. I don't like waffles. Oh, so you love pancakes? I don't like pancakes. Oh, so you, whatever. That argument. I've rambled for too long. I know I've said this channel is for me to ramble, but I've rambled for too long. My script has ended. I'm off script right now. Even when I was on script, I was stumbling over my words. Thank you for listening to me. Have a good one. Thank you for listening. And, what was my outro script? What was my outro script? Hold on. What was my outro script? It was lovely, actually posting a video for you all and shouting into the void for the actual first time, because I am just shouting into the void right now. Thank you for watching, and if you'd like to hear more about when I upload another video, hit that subscribe button and tap that teensy little bell right next to it. And if you liked the video, you can show it by clicking thumbs up, and if you didn't like the video, why not? I'm kidding. I am terrible at making videos. But I say too much. Vocal static. Thumbs down if you didn't like. Thumbs down if disapprove. Thumbs down if you hate me. Do you hate me? Why do you hate me? I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything to you. Bye. Farewell to all. Do 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 Are y'all gone yet? Why are you still here? Why are we all here? Just to suffer?